again, I think we're at an epical change. This feudal thing, right? In Owen Barfield's thing, he said the image pushing through here replaces. He said, if our social structure is disintegrating, right? Is it not precisely because there's no constitutive spiritual principle, no idea in Soloviev and Coleridge's sense of the term incarnate in it? Feudalism, Barfield's whole corpus, and what Soloviev is pointing to here is we're moving away from the feudal, folks, and there's a different model, and it is in this essay. If people want to see, it's not online. Form and Art and Society. It's Barfield. He's saying that the principle of hierarchy and all these Jordan Peterson bros, hierarchy, it's always there. You can never get out it. For what it's worth, Barfield, drawing from Steiner, drawing from Soloviev, are saying precisely something new is working through here. There's a different principle of beauty that has become more apparent in our time. The interpenetration of hierarchy is getting replaced, pushed through the feminine with something about, he's going to use Shakespeare. Every line in Shakespeare and every character mirrors the whole, and the whole mirrors everything.
Right.
So when you find that, it gives us a sense, and they're saying this is pushing through slowly and displacing the feudalism, at least, if not something about the tyranny of like the whole hierarchical thing.
Right.
Yep. And that's why I think it's Pisces to Aquarius more than a 200-year cycle. That the institutions that are falling, like the medical system, the education system, these are pretty big. Yeah.
The institutional hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
People think that is the church.
Yeah, right.
You're going to believe me or your lying eyes, right? Even Tomberg does. But that's become an idol. Right? Yeah. That's an idol. I mean, that's what we have right now. All of our institutions, the mask has come off, right?
It's come off, and this is pushing
education,
through. Yeah.
Government, the church, wherever you're going to look. The mask is off.
Yep. And the quote unquote right is going back to a bad form of hierarchy. And the left is just giving us boredom where nothing is anything. It's all some homogeneous mass, right? It's a crowd, not a community. It's an agglomeration, not an association.
Yeah.
It's like a form of unity that is uniformity. We could go on for hours, but holding on to this disease form of hierarchy, they confuse means and ends, right? The means and ends piece is going to be big, folks. It's going to be big. Sign on now, because you're spitting into the wind. If you don't see that the central proclamation, one of the three central ones of the gospel would be, don't confuse means and ends, right? So much of the confusion of hierarchy is that it confuses means and ends. It allows you to.
Right.
It gives you an excuse to say, because of this good, I'm going to do evil of,
right.
Good. It's crazy. And this is ending in our time.
It is happening. Church hierarchy, advertising hierarchies, our cultural hierarchies, which are all corrupt. And this Jesus figure in the film kind of destroys it all.
Wow.
He cleanses the temple in a way.
I feel like I have to watch it tonight, Michael. These are my themes. Yeah, these are my themes.
The Christ figure who plays Jesus in the Passion Play actually dies. Then his friends, who are like the apostles, basically, they want to start to institutionalize everything. All right, We'll do this. We'll build a theater in his name, and we'll do this.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, so they see it
just right away, and this is what happened with St. Francis, right?
Yeah.
St. Francis went to convert the Sultan, right?
Yeah, they started institutionalizing
and he gets back to Assisi, and they're like, "Hey, we made a few changes while you were away."
Yeah.
And he was.
We branded your name. We said your name.
That's what they did.
Yeah, we put a swoosh next to your name. Yeah.
He was so disgusted, he sat on the floor and threw ashes on his food.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't participate in it.
Yeah.
And this is, because there is a human tendency to do that, right?
Yeah.
We want to organize it, and we're going to make it better, right? We're gonna organize it as a 501c3.
Yeah. Right.
Which is what they do.
Yeah.
And that's the kiss of death.
Yeah.
That's Christian anarchism, right?
Safety.
And that's what the archons are pushing. They, like right now, right? When they have the National Guard on the subways in New York City, right?
Yeah.
It's for your safety. That's how tyranny comes in.
Yeah.
Then you end up with a docile population.
Yeah.
Who is willing to take stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's happening in real time. But the reason I'm obsessed with this thing pushing through, maybe this epical shift, you're aware that, like, in the perspective of the Kabbalah and so forth, in the Hasid tradition, that the Holy of Holies is the Song of Songs, right?
Yeah.
And what is the Song of Songs about? You can't find feudalism or hierarchy in there at all. by definition.
No.
I encourage everybody to get to the translation from Blocks. But it's a translation that puts it back closer to the Hebrew, and it's young people making love outdoors. They weren't married folks. It's about the real. It's about an engagement with the real.
The law is never mentioned.
Right.
And neither is God.
No, not mentioned
Only
once.
there's a moment, I can't remember what it is, where God is implied.
Yeah.
But it's not, no one mentions God.
Yeah.
Right? The weird history of the Song of Songs is this is the book that was, in general, kept away from the laity.
Yeah, right.
And it was the purview of the monastic orders in particular, who would only read it in an allegorical manner, talking about the soul and God, and not what it most obviously is talking about.
Right. And it was Charles Williams who quoted Coventry Patmore saying, the Eucharist is a meal so that every meal might become a Eucharist, right? This is another thing going on in our times, folks. It doesn't mean we don't go to church and there's no sacraments, but is the incarnation pushing through? And do we, God isn't mentioned in the Song of Songs. I hope our listeners are at least starting to play with these constellation of ideas, right?
What you're invoking there with Coventry Patmore is a kind of Christian romanticism.
Yeah.
And what's cool about Christian romanticism is it doesn't throw logos out, but it puts logos and pathos and ethos into harmony.
Yeah.
Right? The romantics themselves were resisting the out of balance nature of the Enlightenment, right?
Yeah, right.
It was all left brain. And I say, wait. We also have feelings and love and stuff like this, right? And we like art. Why? Right?
Yeah.
We have to bring it back into balance. And I think that's what Christian romanticism offers, right? And Christian, right?
Yeah.
Under Christ. And I think sociology is Christian romanticism.
It is.
That is the antidote. That is the antidote to the madness we see in the world.
Yeah.
I think the struggle is right now between a kind of Sophianic affirmation of creation and the Ahrimanic forces in our culture, right? Yeah. As you probably recall, in my book Transfiguration, the chapter Sophia and Ahriman.
I think it's one of your best chapters.
Because I was seeing where it's headed. That's the battle right now. Stuff about COVID, those kinds of crazy interventions, medical interventions against people's will. That is Ahriman. That's the opposite. And right now I think we're coming to a choice between the Sophianic and the Ahrimanic.
Yeah.
That is the antidote to the madness we see in the world.
Yeah. And maybe, again, how much of an epical change are we at? One of the other ways that Soloviev gets to the epical nature of it, or we can decide how important this is, he said, love in our time, the incarnation of love and the way we use it, specifically like sexual love, romantic sexual love, is to our time as to the disordered nature of the word until it was brought into the control of human speech, which is still poetry, not left-brain weirdism.
You mentioned this epochal change. The archons also know it's coming up.
Yeah.
So they're trying to rig the game so the next thing goes to them as well.
Right.
I think I absolutely are right now. And that's why I've been trying to wake people up for the last 10 or 12 years to another possibility, right? Which is sophiology, which is to me, it just seems like such a healthy way to approach the world. It doesn't seem like people go, it's so esoteric. It's not esoteric at all.
No.
It's the opposite of this technocratic madness.
Yeah. When we fall in love, we get this sense that we see people as they are. The falling in love experience. You see them as God sees them. That seems to resonate with young people.
The mask has come off.
He sees everybody like they're shining like the sun, right? That's sophiology. Seeing everybody like you're in love, you're looking over there and you're in love with somebody else. That's sophiology. That's the evolution, maybe, even of mysticism.
People who have, on LSD or mushrooms have a similar experience. They see the world as characterized by love.
Yeah.